Hi, welcome to the video lecture on Suzuki-Kasami algorithm, which is a token-based mutual exclusion algorithm for distributed operating system. Suzuki-Kasami algorithm, since it is a token-based algorithm, all the sites which want to enter into critical section must possess the token. If it possesses the token, then there is no problem. It can enter into the critical section and execute it. If suppose the site doesn't have the token, then it has to obtain the token first by broadcasting a request message to all the other sites. The request message is the token request message. On receiving this request from any site, the site really possesses the token, will immediately grant it to the requesting site if suppose it doesn't execute any critical section. Suppose if the site which is holding the token is on executing critical section, then it finishes the critical section, and on exiting the critical section, it sends the token to the requesting site. On holding a token, the site can either enter into critical section repeatedly until there are any more requests from any other site. Right? There is no limit at all. As long as the site holding the token, it can enter into the critical section as many times as it like. Coming to the data structures and the messages used in Suzuki-Kasami algorithm, there are three data structures. One is the request queue maintained at each site of the distributed environment, and also this request queue length will be the size n. N here, n is the number of total sites involved in the distributed environment. For example, if there are 4 sites involved, then the length of the queue will be 4, right? And for every site, there is a corresponding entry in your request queue, right? So for example, let's say the system is having 4 sites, right? So the system is having 4 sites, S1, S2, S3 and S4, right? So that the request queue of every site will be having 4 array, the length of array request queue is 4. So the first indicates S1, the second indicates S2, third indicates S3 and S4. Similarly, there are 4 elements in your request queue, right? And there is a token array of size n. This token array actually maintained especially to keep the number of times the particular site requested the token, right? So the token array is also a size n. N indicates the number of sites. So for example, for this example, there are 4 sites, S1, S2, S3 and S4. So the token array also takes the length 4. So first index corresponds to S1, next is S2, S3 and S4, right? If any other site, initial state, the token array will be 0, 0, 0, 0. That means no more request, still no site is requesting, right? Suppose if S2 requesting, then this token and its request is serviced, then this token array entry for S2 will become 1. For example, S2 again requests the token and got it, then the token entry for S2 is 2. Similarly, whenever there is a first request on granting the token and completing the process, the token array is updated, right? And there is one more data structure called queue. This is a token request queue, which consists of the site IDs of the distributed environment, whatever is requesting the token, right? For example, site S1 and S2 are requesting the token, then this queue will contain these 2 entries. So S1 requested first and then S2. So the order of service will be in FIFO, first in, first out manner, right? And the messages, there are 2 messages are communicating in this environment. One is the request I, n message. This is the token request message. I indicates the site ID, that means SI, and n indicates the number of times the token is requested. For the first time, suppose site S2 is requesting, then the request message will be in the form request of, since S2 is requesting, I will be 2, right? and n is for the S2 is requesting for the first time. So the count will be 1. Suppose S2 is requesting for the next time, here the count will be 2, right? And the privilege message is for granting token. The main design issue in SK algorithm are two. One is we need to distinguish from outdated request message from the current one. The another design issue here is determining which site has an outstanding request for critical section. These are the two issues to be solved and verified at every stage of the algorithm. For distinguishing the outdated and current request messages, I already mentioned there is a request queue maintained at every site, RI. Okay, a request queue RI. So where Rij is the largest sequence number received so far in the request message of the site Sj. Yes, whenever the site is requesting one more token, the Ri will be updated, then this Ri, this request queue helps us to distinguish the outdated and the current request messages, right? Suppose a request message of site Sj has the form request of j, n, right? And then here we can take it as Si, okay, I, n, let's say, where this message you can understand where the site Si is requesting for nth CS execution. Nth time it is requesting the token, right? Here, whenever the request message comes, if Ri of I, that is the site to which the request is reached, there the ith entry will be checked. If it is more than n, then the request is outdated. If it is lesser than n, then the request is not outdated. For example, there are sites. For example, let's take there is site S1 and one more site S2, and there are third site S3. Now S1, a request array will be maintained as R1 because there are three sites S2, S3. The length of the request queue here is 3. Initially, the request queue of every site is like this. There is no more request, so still the request is not initiated. So this request queue will be like this. Now S1 wants to enter into critical section, so it issue a request message with 1. 1 is the ID and the request number is 1. It is since it is broadcasted, similarly S1 sends the same request to S3 also. On receiving this request, the S1's index in request queue will become 1 because it issued the first request. This one, right? Okay. Now, here you see the n is 1. The request queue position for S1 is also 1. So it is not greater. This Rj of I, here I is equal to 1. So it's 1. N is equal to also 1. It is not greater. So the request is not an outdated request. Then how to determine the outstanding request for CS? The second issue to be solved, for this, the token queue will be helping us. The token array, which is having an entry for every corresponding node or every corresponding site, let's say, right, will be helping in determining whether there is an outstanding request. Look at here, the token array ith entry will be updated whenever the request is serviced, I said, So this updated token entry for ith site as well the request entry for ith site, both will be compared, right? If they are equal, then there is no outstanding request. If not, there is an outstanding request, right? There is an outstanding request. If it is greater, then there is an outstanding request. Okay, move on to Suzuki-Kasami algorithm. So let's see how the Suzuki-Kasami algorithm works. There are two stages in Suzuki-Kasami algorithm. One is the requesting stage, another one is the releasing stage. In requesting stage, site SI wants to enter into critical section so that it sends a token request message, request of I, n to all other sites. On receiving this request message, SI request message from SI, site SJ update its request queue with max of RJ, n. Yes. On receiving SI's request, the two conditions to be checked at every on token holding site. The token array and the token queue, both are maintained at a token holding array. There the two conditions should be checked. One is check for outdated requests. We know very well RJ of I is less than n, then the request is not an outdated request. And remaining outstanding request, if RJ of I is equal to Ti plus 1, then there is no outstanding request. Then on the releasing stage, so on the requesting stage, the site who wants the token will send a broadcast request message. On receiving the request message, immediately the request queue at all other sites will be updated. Then on the token holding site, the two conditions are checked, right? So these are the three things you have to keep in mind on requesting stage. On the releasing stage, on exiting CS, on completing execution, the site will exit CS, by the time the token array is updated. Then if token queue is not empty, then the token is sent to the site on the top of the queue. So once the request is serviced by issuing the token, immediately the queue data structure, the top of the queue entry will be deleted, right? Okay, so that once after a site exiting the CS, immediately it updates the token array. As well, the token queue should be checked. Is there any more entry in the token queue? For example, I told S1, S2. S1 was serviced and its entry is deleted from the top of the queue, and still S2 is there, right? So that it understands that there's one more site requesting the critical section, so that the token will be sent to the site S2 after checking the eligibility, checking these conditions. Okay, move on to the example. There are 4 sites in the distributed environment, say S1, S2, S3 and S4. This is the initial state of the system where S2 hold the token. This is the token holded by S2 presently, and initially the request array, since there are 4 number of sites, the request queue size and the token queue size all are 4. So this 0 indicates S1, and this is S2, and this is S3, and this is S4, right? This all of us know. Now, initially the token queue is also 0, and token array is 0 and queue is empty. Move on to the next stage where S1 wants to enter into critical section and broadcast token request message. The message consists of request of 1, 1, says S1 requesting for the first time, right? So the first parameter indicates the site ID, and the second parameter indicates the number of time the token is requested, right? Okay, on receiving the broadcasted message, all the sites are receiving, that's here also I missed to write, right? So here all the 3 nodes, all other sites, the request is broadcasted because a site doesn't know where is the token, so it blindly broadcasts the message to all other sites. Okay, now on receiving this broadcasted message, what happens? Now we know that S2 is holding the token, so on starting to broadcast, S1 update its request array with 1 because it itself is requesting, right? Okay, move on. On receiving S1's request, what happens? On receiving S1's request, immediately the sites, this is the stage before request, once broadcasted request. Now there are 2 conditions will be checked. Check for outdated request and determining outstanding request. Since the site S2 is possessing the token, so S2's request queue is checked. Here R2 of 1 is this place. It is 0 and n is equal to 1. Now because the request of 1, 1 is coming. So here n is equal to, this is n. So n is equal to 1. So sorry that in the previous slide I told that incremented value I spoken about, but not the initial state. Before updation, the status is checked. If n is greater than R2 of 1, there is no outdated request. The request is not an outdated request, so it will be exercised. Then determining the outstanding request, similarly, the token array value will be checked. Here, R2 of 1, right? Now after changing, right, R2 of 1 becomes 1, right? Now look at R2 of 1 become, after it is updated, right? R2 of 1 become 1, where it is equal to T of 1. What is T here? This is 1. Sorry, 0. Plus 1 is 1. So this is 1 and this is also 1. They both are equal. So there is no outstanding request. Okay. So now what happens is, you look at every site, the blue color one indicates that the request from site 1 is updated and in the request queue of every site. Now the token is granted. Since the two conditions are satisfied, the token is granted to site S1, right? Once after S1 completed the CS, here look at the token array is updated, right? Then there is nothing in the queue. So no node as S1 only asked for token. It was serviced. So the token queue is empty and token array is changed because S1 has already entertained the token. Its own position in the token array is 1. Others are 0. Okay. So this is the stage. Now, this is what I already told you. These are the two things happen after completing CS. Updating the token array with R value. This 1 will be applied here. And delete the top of the queue. It is deleted. Right? Okay. Next, S3 and S4 simultaneously requesting. S3 and S4 are simultaneously requesting for token. Now, what will happen? Here, ignore this one. Right? Okay. Again, the conditions will be here. The top of the queue is S3, S4. S3 and S4. Since after getting the request, the queue will be updated S3 and S4. Since the top of the queue there is S3, now S3 is going to be serviced. The two condition is checked now. Check for outdated request. Here, since the node S1 is possessing the token, R1 of 3 is checked. R1 of 3 here is 0 and n is equal to 1. Here also, look at the request message, request of 4, 1. Since 4, so site 4 is requesting for the first time. Like similarly, site 3 is requesting for the first time. Here 3, there is 3, here is 4, right? So here the n is equal to 1 anyway. So 0, the n is greater than R1 of 3, right? So that there is no, so not an outstanding request, sorry, outdated request. Then similarly determining outstanding request we have. Now what happens? Immediately all the sites request queue, the corresponding entries become 1. For this is S1, this is S2, S3, S4. Since already S1 is serviced, S3 and S4 both are requesting, so that it is 1. They become 1, right? And then what happens? The token is issued to the S3 since the conditions are satisfied. Now, after S3 completing CS, what happens? The top of the queue deleted and the token position for S3 will be set to 0, request position value. So here the token position of S3 is here. What is R3 of 3? 1. So this 1 is copied here, right? Is it copied here? And then S3 is deleted from the queue. There is the only request pending is S4. Now the same process followed in order to check the eligibility of S4 and issue the token, right? The same procedure is followed. So we have to keep in mind the request issued once after request queue updation, eligibility checking, token issue, critical section entry, After completing critical section, the token array corresponding entry should be copied from the request queue corresponding entry, and the top of the request queue should be, token queue should be deleted. Right? Okay, so this is how actually Suzuki Kasami algorithm works. Thank you for watching.